thank you so much for joining me in this beautiful conversation today. So one thing about myself is that I like telling stories. I like reading stories. I just like listening stories. So I think stories have this liberating potent that all of us could just find themselves in, right? So it truly is important for all of us to get to a position where we want to tell our stories. We want to share our stories with the world, right? Because really, all of us have different experiences when it comes to life. And if we get to a position where we can share our stories, it is highly possible that all of us that could understand that in another man's fall, then that's where we could be able to sharpen up our own path to make it better, because now we've learned from another person's fall or another person's experience in whatever, right? So in this conversation today, I want to share with you a story. This story has fascinated me the most. I struggle to figure out about how's this even possible in life, right? How much possible is this kind of thing ukuthi ngenzeka to the other person, right? I just struggle to understand this entire situation itself, but I want to share with you a story of a lady who ended up paying Ilobola for herself because she was under pressure because of these churchy stuff, right? So fast forward, this lady grew up in the Eastern Cape, Emakaya. So it's one of those people who've had a very difficult childhood. There was a point in her life where she got sexually assaulted. So it's those truly difficult type of childhoods, Rabo. So Uti later on, ebomini bakhe, when she was in her teenage years, she dated a guy through a Mixit. It was Mixit at the time, right? Mixit to go those times, right? And then they started dating with this guy. The relationship right? And then years later, kwafika baby mama kule relationship, right? Baby mama started messing things up, right? And then it happened, ukuthi the relationship has to end, right? So she felt really traumatized by the entire situation, and then decided to move out of that province, right? When she got into the other province, she then started her own new life. Kwakhona, waqala phansi ugirl. It's those ladies aba besonto, right? And she's truly a godly type of woman. I don't understand how she got into this terrible experience, but only God knows. It's Him who has all the answers, right? But what happens with this lady is that it's one of those ladies who are truly highly respected at the church. So because of that, because of her status in the church, there was a point where she felt like abantu esontweni bayamcwasa because she is not married as yet, right? So abomama now, they feel insecure in her presence because she is not married, right? And xa ichaza kahle uyasho ukuthi there was a point where they even had to take out prayer sessions just for her to get married. Imagine sessions, kuyathandazwa mshana, thandazelwa wena ukuthi ushade, right? So it was that kind of situation. That's how anxious, that's how obsessed she was for marriage, right? So fast forward, it then happened ukuthi athe vula kwi-Facebook ngelinye ilanga. So great, that guy ebekelokwe data naye when she was in the previous province in the Eastern Cape, right? So when she looked into his message, and he's like, no, hayibo kunini ndikufuna, right? And it's like, no, this is the person whom I'm supposed to get married to, right? They fast forward, then it does happen that I'm bhadalele lobola. She pays all the expenses for their marriage and everything, right? I struggle to understand how much possible is it, but at the same time, I understand as well that she was truly obsessed as a person. She just wanted to get herself to a position lapho seke ngumama, right? Because this guy at the time akasebenze, right? So she felt like, no man, this is the right time, uyabona. So a year later in her marriage, kufika baby mama. I'm not sure if it's the previous baby mama or it's the other one. So kuyafika baby mama in this relationship. They are actually starting to tell her about, no, because we were poor, we thought we could just figure out a way with poverty, and then we said we should marry you, and when you will save us from this situation, right? So so it was that incident, that traumatic incident, only to figure out ukuthi umuntu omshadile, they actually have a baby mama whom they live with in another province, right? So when you and the most confusing part in this is that while he married this guy refused to stay with him, right? Because he knew that he was with the other woman at the same time, right? So it was that kind of situation which she's completely confused now. And at the same time, this lady kept on just imagine to find yourself at a position where you keep taking care of kids who are just not yours, and you're just being generous in one way or another. So what then happened is that she kept on doing this, taking care of kids outside marriage from this guy, including the family he lives with in another province. Uti, he would make sure uti, if une DSTV kwakhe, the other family in Northwest as well has to have DSTV. He would make sure she does take care of such, even including the family say Eastern Cape at the same time, right? And when she says the story, is that even the family SA Eastern Cape, during their wedding, during their marriage process, right? She would receive calls, Zoguti. Actually, this guy doesn't love you, right? And 3 years later, he will divorce you, and it's gonna be a terrible experience. You don't do this to yourself, right? But the lady refused because she was just blinded by love, and besides, the guy tried to brainwash her to think that no, it's these haters. All of us have enemies, Galuk, we're born. So he tried to just brainwash her to think, but no man, these people are just jealous of their relationship, right? So it then happened. This entire thing happened, and then 3 years later, the guy and the lady came out demanding for divorce. So when they come for a divorce now, it's a point yoguti they want to receive assets from this lady. They want to get 50-50, right? So during this marriage process, uyakhuluma lo sisi ukuthi even nasesontweni abantu bayamangalela because her husband is busy posting other women or on social media. So even nasesontweni, she's no longer settled as a person, akakhululekanga, because nanso kaloku indoda yakhe uba ingulowo obusy nabafazi through social media. Like, she's this highly respected person, and obviously her husband, he gained that status at the church, but now she's at that position yokuthi indoda yakho ipostana nabanye abafazi on social media, which is just a confusing thing. Even nabantu besonto, they kept on laughing at her. They just couldn't help her. Uthi there was no one who came out to save her. Unjani, uqhuba njani. But what happened is that status sakhe was feeling more small as a person, right? She felt truly undermined and rejected, but she stayed anyway in that marriage. So in this position yokuthi sebefuna divorce, when they came for divorce, bamtshela indaba zonke, do you understand? Indaba zakhe, do you understand? Like, it is such a traumatic experience for anyone to have gone through that. It is truly terrible. So they're actually telling her, Uba, so this guy tries to explain, Uba, no, I married you because I got advice that if the day I decide to get married, I should marry the ugliest woman of all the ladies I'm dating. Just imagine to figure out that you were actually the ugliest in that in that kind of whatever. Yeah, Lumjita. After spending so much time, effort, investing in marriage, only to realize that you were actually considered the ugliest. And the amazing part is that you had money and you could sponsor this person's life so that abe right in the way. So seke right ke manje ufuna divorce, and he actually wants more from whatever it is that you have. Because if you got married from a community of property, in community of property, it means that you have to share assets 50-50, right? And whatever cars she has, half of the other cars have to go to this guy. Or it's such another experience, and I don't think anyone should experience this going forward in life. All of us should be at a position where, as women, we understand our worth. We're more at peace and more content with where we are, instead of demanding that and just having this obsession of things that are just completely out of our control, right? So this is truly a tragic experience, really, because I struggle to understand. Because now she does say Wuti, now she's in a position where she tries to fight according to Section 9, which demands that because this guy pretended to be in love with him, then the fact that during the process of their marriage, he actually proved and showed that he was not really into marriage, but he actually wanted to be sponsored in life, to just have this free type of life, right? So it is such a tragic experience for anyone to have gone through that. The sad part is that, as well, is that she couldn't even wait even after Bebuyelene, right? Which is just completely confusing. And all of us should get to a point where we want to understand that really, if it's not time as yet for some of those things, it is not time as yet. Be at peace with wherever you are, and just find gratitude with the simple things that you have in life, right? So now if some of us get to a position where you find yourself in this kind of situation, it truly is important for you to make peace with such things and understand that you still have life at the end of the day, right? You still have so many years ahead of you, because this lady is very young, right? Like, she's very young. It's just that it's those successful people, right? But at the same time, they've gotten under pressure because of Esondo. And one thing that I'm learning about this entire situation is that because this lady is these prayerful type of people, wherever, it is such a powerful lesson. But no matter how much prayerful you are, no matter how much gifted you are as a person, if it's not time as yet for you to acquire whatever, it is just not time as yet. Make peace with such things. Understand that God's timing is perfect at the end of the day, right? So it's these type of people, man. But no, like, different men from the church angathola connections, bekuyiloo nto ukuba angathola connections, but no, mang uthoka monna, so please organize whatever. And she would be like, no, I don't want this person. Look, like, it's just those people about privileged to that level as a person, right? So because she is a gifted type of person. So Istorisake is truly amazing. It is such another learning experience for her, and I hope that she is navigating this entire situation such that she understands her worth, because I struggle to figure out how much possible is it for someone to be so obsessed to this level where they want to pay lobola for themselves. It is just completely confusing, right? So one of the lessons that I've learned in this story is that never put yourself under pressure for stuff that are just completely out of your control. It is very important for you to be more intentional about learning to understand that stuff that are completely out of your control, they are exactly are. You're just human at the end of the day, and you shouldn't force things to go your way, because you don't know how much tragic experiences you're inviting in your life. You should be more intentional about really understanding that to be under pressure, it is just completely distracting at another extent, and you should be more careful of to find yourself at a position where, because you're under pressure and now you should act at any given instance, right? So number 2 is that try and find gratitude with where you are, right? So it truly is important for you to be more content as a person. Like, just find gratitude in the simple things that you have, right? Because this is such a tragic experience, and I struggle to understand that how possible is it for someone who's more prayerful like this to experience such a difficult, tragic experience, especially when it comes to marriage, right? And it teaches me that really God's timing is perfect, and at the end of the day, we should be able to align ourselves to just put ourselves in alignment of God's timing, or else flop into serious if we're not really intentional about understanding that in anything, in any pursuit, God's timing is perfect, right? So God's timing is perfect, no matter how much desperate for what you want or just you think you need, right? So it truly is important for all of us to learn to be more content with who we are as a person, to understand that God's timing is perfect for everything, and you don't have to be obsessed to a level where you're just completely out of your control, such that ungenza into ekanjena, right? Because nayo into ethi, she truly embarrassed her family by uzibhatalela ilobola herself. This is just completely confusing, and I wonder where was her family at the time. But when she does say uthi manje akanabazali, so this is just completely just confusing, because I want to think, with all this hustle to try to get a husband, she's trying to fill out a void that's lacking in her life. That is just so unfortunate. So I struggle to understand how to get to a point where we want to avoid such things, but it truly is important for us to do the inner work in quite a lot of things, to be able to observe to a greater extent, to observe ourselves to a greater extent before we could just get into any pursuit, because other pursuits will give us so much tragedy in our lives, and we don't want tragedy in life. We want to be at a level where we want to continue in life, like see observant, see more careful, see avoiding quite a lot of drama that is just completely unnecessary, right? So it truly is important for all of us to be more content with where we are as a person, and just be more at peace, right? Just understand that you have a choice whether to be whining about quite a lot of things, or to just be more content and just be more at peace. But if you find yourself at a position where you've got a situation where you can't navigate, the most important thing is really understand that you still have life ahead of you, right? There's quite so many years you have ahead of you, and time heals at the end of the day. It's not like you continue to feel the way you feel. It is just completely unfair for you to have experienced what you did experience, but it truly is important for you to be more intentional about focusing on whatever situation and make peace with it. Make sure you heal from that traumatic situation so that you could just move on from a clean slate in your life. But anyway, I thank you so much for joining me in this beautiful conversation today. I hope all of us have something to learn so that we could be at a position where we want to engage better with life, because we can always learn from each of our stories so that each one of us could sharpen their own paths better, right? So this lady uyakhuluma indaba ukuthi bamtshela ukuthi no, this I was advised by a group of my brothers, of guys, uba I should marry the ugliest in all my girlfriends, right? And yabona nje ngoba she's the ugliest, akuyo wisdom laphayana. Just imagine i-trauma engaka. Just imagine i-trauma engaka. Ube kuthiwe wena you should be married because now you are the ugliest, and at the same time you are more wiser than the other ones. So it is just a traumatic experience. Uba know how do we experience this as a person. So it truly is important for all of us to be truly intentional about navigating our lives better, and just find gratitude in the simple things that we have, no matter how much constant urge we have for other things, for other life that seems glamorous, but to be able to invest more energy in appreciation of whatever you have for this moment. I thank you so much. Bye.